Today, Mrs. Cross is going to show you how to round to the nearest 100. We are going to use the example 122 to round to the nearest 100. When we're rounding, the best strategy to use is to use a number line. When we're rounding to the nearest 100, so I'm looking for the multiple of 100 that comes before 122. And either the multiple of 10 that comes before or the nearest 100 before is 100. The 100 that comes after 122 is 200. So that's going to go to the right on my number line. Then I always mark what is exactly in the middle between 100 and 200. In this case, we know it is 150. Now I need to mark 122 on my number line. Well, I know my 122 is not greater than 150. It is smaller. Therefore, it goes on the left of 150, which is 122. Now I can see which 100 it's closest to. 122 is kind of close to 100, but it's way far away from 200. Therefore, 122 is closest to 100. Therefore, 122 rounds to 100. This time I'm going to round 776 to the nearest 100. Again, I'm going to draw my number line. I look at my hundreds place since I'm rounding to the nearest 100, and I notice that's 7. So that's a hint that the 100 that comes before 776 must be 700. The 100 after that, if I add 100 to 700, I know that gives me 800. Then I always mark what comes exactly in the middle. In this case, it's 750. Well, if I look in my tens and ones place, I know I have 76. So I know 776 comes after 750. So I'm going to mark it on my number line. Now I'm going to draw my hops. 776 is a long way from 700, but it appears closer to 800. Therefore, my nearest 100 is 800. So 776 rounds to 800. Our last example I'm going to show you is 550. So again, I'm going to draw my number line, and then I'm going to mark my multiples of 10 or 100 on the side. So I look in my hundreds place since I'm rounding to the nearest 100, and it's a 5. That's a clue that the 100 that comes before 550 is 500. Then I know the one after it must be 600. If I have mark the number in the middle, in this case, it's the number I'm rounding to, which is 550. Now I'm going to mark my hops. Well, 550 to 500 is the same distance that it is to 600. When you have this happen, the rule is you always round up to the next nearest 100. So in this case, we round up to 600. Therefore, 550 to the nearest 100 is 600.